Well, welcome everybody. This is Jacob Paulson with USA Firearm Training. I'm here with John Wallace, one of the co-founders, and I'll call it the visionary behind LASR, Laser. And John, we're really excited to be with you. I think that you have obviously a foundational product in our industry, and I think people love to hear the story about where it came from, how it came to be. We also love to hear what makes it special, what makes it unique. And then I think also getting a sense for what's next, what's the future of this, and that's kind of the purpose today. So welcome.
Hi, I'm glad to be here, Jacob. Thanks for having me on. Look forward to answering whatever questions you got.
Yeah, start by maybe giving us the short version, John, of your story. Where did you come from, and why did you think, hey, gun software, that's a good idea?
What I came from, I grew up on a sheep ranch in very rural Nebraska. Still want to go back to rural Nebraska someday. But anyway, joined the Army when I was 18 in 2005, shortly after the surge in Iraq began. Of course, I ended up going to both of those countries. And I got back and got out, and I was working some odd jobs. I was also working as an adjunct instructor for the Army Reserves. I don't do that anymore. I've had medical issues that have basically forced me out. But I was also, of course, practicing on my own, and I taught classes from time to time. And I did a lot of dry fire practice. A lot of it. And I found products like the CERT pistol, and I found products like, it was actually the very first thing I had was a CERT AR bolt, and for a while that's all I had. And I was looking at target options, because I was like, I'd really like to have a shot timer. That's the main thing that I wanted. I was like, well, it'd also be nice to be able to see where I hit. And I looked at things like the laser light target, and I looked at this high-end projector-based systems, and they're all either terrible or they cost too much. They're just not within the realm of possibility for most people. And what I actually did was while doing research, I stumbled across a video on YouTube of somebody using a laser pointer to control their mouse.
Oh, interesting.
And they provided their source code. It was just some guy that was screwing around. And I, not being a computer programmer at all, managed to accidentally make it work. And the chicken wire and duct tape version of laser was actually a little bit of code working to work the mouse, and Microsoft Paint with a target on it that matched the target on the wall. And I had to spend all kinds of time getting it lined up exactly right, so that where it would draw a little dot on paint on the target was where I hit on the target. That was the foundation of it. Through a local gun forum, Nebraska Firearms Owners Association forum, I got in contact. I basically just put out a forum. I was like, hey, is there any computer programmers out there? I've got an idea. And within a couple of months, actually, we had Laser version 1.0 out on the market. And I remember I was sitting in Jason's office, and we were kind of talking about this, and I said, let's just throw it out there on the market. Maybe we can sell 100 units. And he looks at me and goes, we're never going to sell 100 units. Well, we sold 100 units within the first couple of months. Now we typically move about, it varies quite a bit, but anywhere from 100 to 500 a month. This time of year is typically a little slower. People are outdoors. It is an indoor product and stuff.
Sure.
And we've just kept continuing to improve it, everything from user friendliness to adding features. And one of the big things we do is all updates and support are free. So we don't charge for version, we came out with version 3.0 at the end of last year. We didn't charge for that. We just recently came out with version 3.2, and version 3.3 is already in development, and I'm actually working on that right now. But am I getting too far off track here?
No. I think you're starting to give us a sense for the evolution of what's happening, and I love what you said about free product updates. I think we're going to come back to that as well. But give me a sense, maybe in those early days when version 1.0 came out, what was some of the initial feedback? Like, what were you hearing from people that were using the product, good and bad?
Everybody liked it. Most of the feedback was just, we need more features. If you've seen version 1.0, you wouldn't even recognize it. You could only change rectangles after you drew them. There was no additional tools, diagnostic mode, target down mode, those didn't exist yet. You couldn't change your shot color or your shot tone, and the only shot tone was beeps. They were just beeps. That's all it did. We thought that gunshot noises for version 1.0, we thought it was too video gaming, but then we had a lot of requests for it, so we put it in there, and now I use it all the time like that. So it's come a long ways, and we're just going to keep working on it. We're also branching out now into other stuff. And what I mean by that is it kind of started with the plugins. Probably the first thing that you saw there was the Shooter Watch plugin, where we kind of really got outside the box. You know, it's not just another building on functionality that already exists. We invented a whole new idea, almost a whole new piece of software.
Yeah, it's interesting because you talked about dry fire practice, laser simulated firearms were coming on the market, and so obviously there was seemed to be like a void, right, that needed to be filled.
Yeah.
What have you seen, in terms of, you mentioned the CERT, so I think we're okay talking about the CERT, Next Level Training. MyQ is a great company, great brand, and great products. They've now seen competitors come into the market, and they're dealing with competition. On your end, I've not seen a competition yet. Maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. But obviously, you've solved a void, right? I think that's probably the biggest feedback
Yeah.
I hear.
I mean, that's what it came down to, and it was my need to have some feedback on my dry fire practice translated into a product that could provide that for other people.
Exactly.
It's a necessity is the mother of invention. That's exactly what happened. My training background and stuff definitely helped out a lot. Like one of the things that never crossed into my mind, and I'm glad it didn't, was to make it script based. If you notice, laser, there's no script. It's not a video game. It doesn't pigeonhole you into doing this and that and putting stupid graphics up on the screen for completed objective or whatever.
Right.
It's a training tool, and all it does is do exactly what you tell it to do and show you exactly what happened, exactly what you did. And that's the whole idea. That's been the whole idea the whole time. You did mention competitors. Yeah, there's a couple. There's bad copies is what we call them. There's people that are trying to make projector-based systems more affordable with varying amounts of success, but the overriding factor is always there that you got to have a projector, and I mean that automatically increases your hardware costs to $500, $800 depending on what kind of projector you need. But for the most part, I mean we've compared. We always get a copy of the bad copies and just kind of look at them, and it's just like we just don't really feel threatened, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I that's my sense too. Is I feel like you guys are paving trails, and there's always copycats, but it makes sense to be in the front. John, give me a sense. Let's talk a little bit about laser now, in terms of features and way people use it, and let's talk about the most recent version that's out right now. It's what I have on my machine. So you already mentioned a few things. I think maybe we should talk about those first, then maybe we talk about some of the other features. But you talked about reporting and feedback. So let's talk about how laser improves a shooter by giving them feedback on their skills.
Yeah. Well, I always said that the benefits to laser are twofold, and the first one, and it again, necessity is the mother of invention. And normal dry fire practice has two problems. You aren't getting any feedback to keep you honest and to help you get better and all that, and it's boring. So the first thing it takes care of, it does make dry fire practice a lot more fun. The second thing is you've got features like fully integrated shot timer. Of course, it shows you exactly where you hit, but you got a fully integrated shot timer. You got coaching features and advanced feedback like diagnostic mode, and you can save and view your targets in timesheets and compare them historically. So you can even graph out your shot times. So say you have a drill that you want to call your just concealed carry draw drill, and you just stand there and you have the same target at the same distance, and you do it 3 times a night every night. You can save those 3 runs every night and then go back over the past month, year, week, whatever, and graph out your shot times and see, okay, I'm getting better, I'm getting worse. Oh, but that's because I missed a couple weeks worth of practice there. Or, and it's going to help you figure out what causes what when it comes to your training and it comes to your practice.
Yeah, critical. Give me talk a little bit about who you've seen in terms of who the customers are for laser. I mean, I'm an instructor. We're a company full of instructors. For an instructor, it's quite obvious what the benefits are, that we would sit in a classroom with students and be able to give them immediate feedback, and also scalability in terms of being able to work with a higher number of students at the same time. But what, the average Joe gun owner, what is what are you hearing back in terms of who the users are?
The users, we pretty much have what we call 4 categories of users. And you got your at-home users who are interested in personal defense and concealed carry. And then you have competition shooters is also a big market. Obviously, they really like the shot timer and the advanced feedback and all that. And then we have instructors, of course. And like in the most recent version, LASR 3.2, we spent a crap ton of time overhauling race mode to just make it a lot more functional, which is a feature that's almost exclusively for instructors. Anyone can use it. It's in the software. But unless you're an instructor, you're probably not going to use it. And then the other market would be your law enforcement and military. Now, to be honest with you, we're still all just talking about individuals here. That's really kind of what we're geared towards. Because to be honest with you, the average law enforcement department, they give us just as much money as Joe competition shooter does.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't pay for us to really target that law enforcement and military market that much. But it's definitely still useful to them. We still have, like the U.S. Army Reserve Marksmanship Team uses laser.
Sure.
So those are our major markets right there. It's kind of a misconception sometimes when people see this, especially if they haven't seen the price yet, that they think, oh, this is a high-end thing for government and rich guys in mansions with
right
$1,000 shotguns or whatever.
With theater rooms, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about price. I think MSRP is $120. Is that right, John?
Yep, that's correct.
So $120 MSRP. Let's give a sense for, in my mind as an instructor, it's very clear and obvious. If you were to invest $120 in a product like this and download it and use it once, twice, you probably got your money worth, right? To give us a little bit of a sense for, what does the ROI look like as someone really takes advantage of the program?
$120. Okay, so let's make this into an example. All right, and it's not about replacing live fire. That is never and will never be the goal. It is about making your live fire practice more valuable. So I talked about that fun factor. It makes dry fire practice more fun, which means you're more likely to do it. So Joe Schmo, let's say he's a concealed carrier, and he recently switched from a small back carry with a revolver, and he took a class from somebody, and he went, you know what, that really sucks. I don't like that anymore. So he upgrades to like a Glock 42 with appendix carry. He has a whole new draw stroke and a whole new series of tasks that he needs to learn, from malfunction drills to that, like I said, just drawing, to managing, to the grip, to the trigger, to everything is going to be completely different. If he can work out all of those issues without firing a single live round, and then go to the live range and validate, and he's already got his techniques down, at this point, he's just, putting a little extra sharpening on the blade and making sure everything's good and secure. He's going to be a lot safer. He's going to save a lot of money on ammo, and he's going to get a lot more than $120 value out of it, put it that way.
Right. Yeah, I think that's the key, is we talk about, for me to go to the range and do live fire, it's going to cost me about $300. Range fees, time, gas, ammo, right? So $120 one time, and I get unlimited free updates every time you guys release a new version, would seem like a no-brainer.
And keep in mind, one of the reasons we do free updates is, little secret here, then we don't have to support multiple versions.
Right. Everybody gets the new one.
It also makes sure that, if we fix things, make them better functionality-wise, reliability-wise, whatever, that everyone's always getting those new things, which, of course, keeps our support costs down.
Right. That makes sense. Talk a little bit, John, about what's coming up, what's next. What's the future look like? And not necessarily just for laser, but if you see anything else in the industry in terms of laser simulated training, what are some things coming down the pipeline?
Of what I'm willing to talk about, obviously there's stuff up here that we even have code names for stuff. You might hear the term Alberta or Blueberry thrown around. Those are just code names. They don't mean anything except to us. And that's just because we don't want to accidentally say it in front of somebody and give away what it actually is. But really what we're focusing on next is looking outside the box, kind of like we did with the Shoot Watch plugin. And instead of just tweaking things and changing this button color and doing this, how can we approach this from a completely new way? A lot of this is going to be working with hardware partners. It might even involve some proprietary hardware. Could even be talking about systems that aren't even computer-based anymore. They are based on a different piece of hardware. One of the key things that we're working on right now is actually developing a system it's going to be pretty popular when it hits, and I wish I could talk about it, I really do. But I can't, and that's the next thing that we're working on. The other thing that we're working on is sharpening our, there's two sides to what we do. There's sales and there's support. So sales is before they purchase, support is afterwards. Right now we're working on also sharpening the support and the sales side of things. So we just yesterday actually came out with a laser shopping guide, which is basically a build my kit tool. And it'll go, do you already have a webcam? You answer yes, then it goes, okay, you don't need to get one. Because we found that people were just kind of getting confused sometimes, stumbling around the online shop trying to figure out what they need and what they didn't, and they'd accidentally buy stuff that they didn't need, or they didn't get stuff that they didn't need. And that's going to help with that. We recently upgraded a bunch of our support avenues to include a bunch of self-help material, and we're still working on that, still coming along. By all means, we're not saying don't call us if you're having an issue or anything, but what we want to be able to do is you don't need to wait on a response from us to get more. And that was the example in version 3.2, we undid the need for people to contact us if they needed to move their license to a different machine, move their software license.
Huge value.
So that's the stuff I can talk about.
John, kind of to summarize and bring this back together, give me a quick sense for, what it looks like in the industry in terms of partnerships that you guys have. Obviously, we talked a little bit about next level training and CERT. The NRA just launched a laser simulated training course, an official curriculum back in January. Do you see this as an industry, and by industry I guess I mean laser simulated training within firearm training that's growing, and there's more players, and what thoughts or comments would you have about that?
It's definitely, I would say it's a burgeoning sector of the industry. What's really happening is the technology is finally coming together to provide an affordable solution for the at-home user. And we were kind of the tip of the spear of that. Hopefully we'll be the end as well. And that's part of what we're working up here to do is just keep being the latest and greatest, the newest innovators.
So, John, we really appreciate your time. Know you're busy. Grateful for the time you've given us today. I think that those who are not familiar with laser, they need to get their hands on it. They need to play with it. They need to touch it. They need to see it. You have a lot of great videos online on your YouTube channel, on your Facebook page. So I'd encourage people also to look there. Any other immediate thoughts or last minute tips or feedback for anybody who's watching the video?
One thing I did want to mention is our web series. You might have seen it. It's called Dry Fire Tips. It's a video series, and if you want to check it out, go ahead. If you're just interested in laser, it's maybe not the best way to go. They're not are examples of drills that you can do, or just talking about different techniques for dry fire practice, or even have some gear reviews and stuff in there. So if you wanted to check that out, of course, if you're looking for the most complete source of information on the laser software, just head to LASRapp.com, and there's literally just about any question you could ever think of is answered there.
Perfect. Well, John, thanks again. This is John Wallace from LASR, LASRapp.com. We're going to push that URL should be shown on the screen right now here on the video. This is Jacob Paulson signing off. Thanks, John.
Yep, thank you.